Welcome to Apple Teeny, where AI chaos, Apple rumors, and weird tech economics all collide. The AI world has somehow reached the point where having access to 30 models feels less powerful and more like standing in the cereal aisle at midnight. Also, your future Mac upgrades may get way more expensive because AI apparently needs every memory chip on Earth. A lot of AI aggregators are selling breadth. Raycast has more than 30 models. Other apps do the same thing, and in theory that sounds incredible. In practice, regular people are staring at names like GPT 5.5 versus 5.4 or Sonnet 4.6 versus Opus 4.8 and thinking, absolutely not, I am not building a spreadsheet for my chatbot. That's the core problem. Power users like the buffet, everybody else gets decision fatigue. And you're usually giving something up when you use the model through the middleman. You might get the raw model, but miss the stuff that makes the native app actually good, like ChatGPT voice features or Claude's built-in coding workflow. For the frontier models, the surrounding ecosystem can matter more than the model label itself, which makes these aggregator menus feel a little fake premium. Then there's pricing, and this is where the vibes get truly cursed. Some charge subscriptions, some want your own API key, some sell credits, and suddenly your monthly AI bill looks like a restaurant tab when nobody ordered responsibly. Consumer plans from the big providers are often heavily subsidized, so going through aggregator APIs can wind up costing way more than people expect. Casual users may still love the one-stop-shop idea, but serious users want unlimited tokens, custom keys, and total control, and a lot of them eventually boomerang back to direct subscriptions. Long-term, it feels hard to believe all of these aggregators survive. Model companies want people locked into their own apps and their own exclusive features. Consolidation feels almost inevitable. The more interesting angle is which aggregators are becoming actual products instead of just model vending machines. Raycast's iPhone update is a good example. It hooks into reminders, calendar, and health, and it uses its own system prompt to help set up those integrations in plain language instead of making you dig through weird setting screens. That matters on mobile because convenience is the whole game. If an AI app can actually do things in your phone life, it stops being a demo and starts being a tool. Perplexity is going harder in a different direction. Its Model Council feature lets you run one query across multiple LLMs side by side, which is nerdy but genuinely useful if you want to see how Google, OpenAI, and Anthropic answer differently. And then, Perplexity has this personal computer feature, which is basically a sandboxed Mac agent that can work with files, apps, and AppleScript. That is a much bigger swing than just search with citations. Notion's doing its own version of this with custom AI agents. You can pick different models for different agents, set permissions per agent, and even run TypeScript workers in a secure cloud sandbox for automations. That's powerful, especially for teams. But the bill gets annoying fast because now you're tracking your normal subscription and your AI credits and your token usage. Every AI product eventually finds a new way to become accounting software. One of the clearest real-world wins for AI right now is software development, especially for solo developers. There were examples of Claude quickly spotting bugs that would have taken longer to untangle manually, like a migration issue in user defaults and a Boolean inversion bug in Overcast Downloader. That's the sweet spot. Not magic, not replacement, just a very fast second set of eyes that never gets tired of reading your ugly logic. For tiny teams or one-person shops, it can make the work feel collaborative in a way that simply wasn't available before. Faster debugging, faster shipping, faster betas. But none of that erases the weirdness around relying on opaque models, paying for access that can fluctuate, and pretending giant AI data centers don't come with environmental costs. The productivity gains are real, so are the trade-offs. Now for the hardware side of the panic, a Wall Street Journal chart suggests DRAM prices could be around 900% higher by the end of 2027 because AI demand is inhaling memory supply. If that happens, device makers raise prices, and the cited estimates were ugly, with possible increases up to 54% on higher RAM and SSD configs for things like Macs, iPads, and Apple TV. Imagine paying boutique prices because every AI server on the planet decided it needed one more truckload of memory. Meanwhile, memory chip workers in South Korea are reportedly getting jaw-dropping bonuses, something like $410,000 on a $52,000 base salary in some cases. Good for them, honestly. If the boom is that wild, somebody besides shareholders should enjoy it. And no, Apple probably isn't just going to make its own DRAM empire. That business needs giant fabs, decades of investment, scale, and commodity margins. It's not a cute side quest. A few quick Apple notes. Siri is still not your long-term memory vault. Its short-term context is tied to temporary files and limited windows. So if you want something to persist, put it in Notes or Bear like a normal person. There's also a real privacy wrinkle with Siri behaviors that work once the phone is unlocked. In border or law enforcement scenarios, getting compelled to unlock a device changes the equation fast, even if people try workarounds like draining the battery or hiding apps behind Face ID. On the lighter side, there's a prediction that iOS 27 could do spatial reframing for photos, but the expectation is that it would use model training to fill backgrounds rather than perfectly reconstructing exact landmarks. So don't expect AI to rebuild your vacation shot atom by atom. In the car world, Tesla is reportedly chasing native CarPlay support, with the big obstacle being coordination between Tesla's driving stack and Apple Maps. If Apple's route-sharing features give Tesla the coordinates it needs, that could turn into real pressure on Rivian and GM too, because refusing CarPlay forever starts to look less principled and more stubborn. And yes, there's also a macOS boot hack that can make an external drive pretend to be internal, but it requires disabling system integrity protection. That sounds exactly as fragile as it is. Great for a forum post, terrible for peace of mind. A genuinely good update outside the usual gadget bubble. The FDA added bimotrizinol, also known as tinosorbs, to the US sunscreen monograph. That opens the door to better sunscreens that don't lean so hard on avobenzone, which means less of the classic eye-burning misery a lot of people know too well. Also, there's a new podcast project called Designing California, funded through Kickstarter, aiming for 50 episodes on Apple's 50-year history. It'll eventually split into its own feed, and yes, there are physical backer rewards, including a bear cow pin, which is extremely specific and kind of charming. And for Dave Matthews Band fans, Nugs.net is now streaming next-day soundboard recordings, which means people can retire the muddy audience tapes and go full jam band archivist in high quality. One last story because it's too vivid to ignore. A host talked about getting pickpocketed on the Rome metro and described it as a coordinated distraction, the kind of thing professional pickpocket rings are known for in Rome and Paris. Florence came off friendlier. New York weirdly felt safer by comparison, and honestly, that's the kind of travel takeaway that sticks with you harder than any museum recommendation. That's it for Appletini. Go wear better sunscreen, keep a hand on your wallet, and maybe do not trust 30 AI model names to improve your life by themselves. Talk soon! This episode was generated by Podkey. Create your own at podkey.fm.